Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. It is Monday morning and an interesting week is lined up ahead of us. Let's quickly look at all the global news flows first to start off with. The key focus is going to be in terms of oil marketing companies. You have oil, which has surged after Saudi has pledged million barrel cut in terms of the OPEC meet. And with this, if you see, we already saw a 4.5% jump in terms of crude prices. In fact, as we know, OPEC pumps almost approximately 40% of world's crude, and several producers of OPEC have already revealed a combined 1.66 million barrels per day since April 3rd. Now, the voluntary cuts from the nine OPEC countries will be extended to December 2024 versus the previous outline of 23. So that's an important pick that we need to talk about in terms of crude. Moving on, you have Biden, which has gone ahead and signed the debt limit deal now, and that has converted into law. So that's a positive as well, and this averts a US default, on the back of which you have Asian markets also, which have opened in the positive. China, US have also fundamentally disagreed over Taiwan as well as the global rules. So, what's the impact it's going to have is going to be crucial. And you have Airbus, where they're predicting a supply crunch with wide bodies as travel rebounds, and the airlines are now stocking up on long haul jets where the supply disruptions limit output. So, watch out for the aviation space also pretty closely. You have Apple that will be in focus because they are set to announce a mixed reality headset at the WWDC, and they're planning to also expand their retail stores in Asia and remodel locations in the US, Europe, as well as elsewhere. So announcements around it will be interesting. Moving on in terms of Europe, you have Rishi Sunak, who's moving to curb migration, citing strain on UK services. So, what's the impact it's going to have in terms of students migrating to the UK is going to be interesting. In fact, the European stocks have also gained the most since March on the back of the China stimulus plan. Moving to the Indian markets, you have the Indian rail signal system. The error has been behind the worst crash in decades. That's what they have said. And the teams are working to restore the tracks as the rescue operations are over. In fact, this is the deadliest crash in decades, and that has killed more than 280 passengers. Moving on from a monsoon perspective, the arrival over Kerala has seen a delay further, and that's what the IMD has said. Now, interestingly, on the back of this, what's the kind of impact it will have in terms of FMCG players, in terms of names? If you talk about rice companies, a lot of agri related companies, that's going to be a sector we will be watching out for, taking into consideration the delay that could be set in as well. But let's quickly move on in terms of how the US markets fared in overnight trade. Overall, a good up move that was seen in terms of Dow Jones, S&P, as well as Nasdaq. In fact, we will touch base in detail in the next show in terms of the correlation between Nasdaq as well as Indian IT and the way the movement can be anticipated. Asian markets have also opened in the positive, and this is taking positive cues on the back of the debt ceiling bill that has been signed by Biden. And you have OPEC, which has seen cuts mainly from Saudi Arabia, on the back of which we've seen a good up move that has come in terms of crude prices. So, all marketing companies, your paint companies, all of these will continue to remain in focus in today's session. Moving on, let's quickly pull up the SGX Nifty as well. An interesting move. When we started off, SGX Nifty was up almost 100 points in trade. Currently, we are seeing gains of around 85 to 90 points above those 18,700 levels. So, in terms of opening, a gap up opening is something which is on the cards, basis what we are picking up from SGX Nifty. So, it's going to be an interesting day from levels perspective that we will be watching out for. Clearly, if you see the first week of June, that's clearly actually belonged to the broader markets, because despite a flat Nifty, the small cap index itself has moved up by almost 3%, and it's registered gains of almost 1.5% in trade. Now, there will be consolidation that could be expected for Nifty 50 at levels of around 18,500, and that's something we should be watching out for on the FI front as well. Now, there was an expected pause in the momentum, and that's something which will likely trigger some pause in the movement that we are seeing on Nifty 50, as well as if you see the RBI policy meet. That is something that will be crucial that the street will be watching out for this week. In fact, if you see the FIs, they've gradually changed the bias in Nifty futures post the May settlement and turned net sellers. And Nifty is trading at a significantly higher premium of almost 100 points. So these are two important points that we need to watch out for, because clearly Nifty has always shown a tendency of struggle when the premiums have been really this high. So watch out for this consolidation phase from here on. But clearly, analysts are of the opinion that buy on dips will be a good opportunity, specifically from a bank Nifty perspective as well, because consolidation near levels of around 44,000 in terms of bank Nifty is going to be interesting. And this is the fourth consecutive week where this kind of consolidation has continued. In fact, it's the private heavyweights that have actually come under pressure, and buy on dips is the opportunity that analysts are indicating. Very quickly, let's quickly look at what needs to happen from here on from an FNO perspective as well. Uh, that 18,500 is where we are seeing the highest put OI. 18,600 is where the highest call OI is. And if you see the FPI long short ratio, that has fallen as well. So clearly, the FPIs are now holding more short positions relative to long positions. That's what it means by the long short ratio. From here on, a decisive close above 18,600 is going to be crucial for Nifty 50 to actually sustain the uptrend. That's the indication that the technical levels are indicating. And as we mentioned on Bank Nifty as well, 44,000 will act as a make or break level. And the option activity at 44,000 is going to be crucial, because this number strike will provide you cues about the future direction in the coming week. So that's in terms of where the technical levels are concerned. But overall, from a specific perspective, watch out for an RBL bank from the bank side, because it's an absolute long candidate. The long built up is pretty strong. The stock is up around 14%. The OI addition is up around 13% on this one. Kotak Mahindra Bank, that's going to be an interesting one as well, because that counter is seeing a strong short built up in trade in the last three sessions. The price is down around 2% with regards to a Kotak Bank, whereas if you see in terms of the open interest addition, almost up 25% plus. So both these names from Bank Nifty will be interesting to watch out for. Moving on, IT sector is going to be interesting, because whether it's going to be time to actually nibble at the IT sector at current levels, if you see Nasdaq, because there's a complete correlation between Nasdaq as well as Nifty IT. In calendar year 23, the Nasdaq has seen gains of almost around 24% that has come in there. And so far, if you go to see, NSE IT has outperformed Nasdaq over a period of last 20 years, and that's the trend that we've picked up. And from there on, currently, so far the Nasdaq outperformance versus the Indian IT is, there's a wide margin between that. So this is clearly indicating that the Indian IT index, that's the Nifty IT index, has a clear catch up to play with the Nasdaq, and hence there could be some bit of outperformance further that could be expected from IT as well. We will give you further updates on this in the next show. But DART also will be, cement, apart from that, is going to be another sector in focus, because clearly there is a report by DART which is indicating that the demand is expected to remain healthy. There is expected to see further traction, and this is ahead of the pre-general election work. uh, you have the rising real estate as well as the urban housing demand and the budgetary support. All of these factors will come to the aid of the cement sector. In fact, dealers across regions except the central region are expecting a price hike in the range of 5 to 40 rupees per bag in the month of June. Now, how this augurs for the cement pack is going to be an interesting one to watch out for. Moving on from a macro perspective, you have the RBI monetary policy that is slated this week. Now, in an interesting report I was reading by Dr. Soumya Kanti Ghosh, which is clearly where he's saying that it's a pause, but a growth upgrade and an inflation downgrade. Is that something which is coming? And that's an interesting headline that we've picked up, because clearly the global rate action across is showing a status quo, and that is becoming the norm as per Dr. Soumya Kanti Ghosh. And the global growth is expected to slow down in general in 2023. However, India and China, though China is a distant second, is holding forth. So this is going to be an interesting point we need to watch in terms of the monetary policy. Moving on, if you see in terms of a few stock specific action, RB Denims will be in focus in today's session. They've temporarily suspended production at all units and they're planning to restart operations once the market situation improves. There could be, I suspect, some positive movement in terms of a small name like RB Denims. Lupin is in focus on the back of the launch of Darunavir tablets in the US, so watch out for that one. Tata Chemicals has signed an agreement MOU with the government of Gujarat, and this is with regards to the lithium ion cell manufacturing facility, a 13,000 crore investment coming in there. Traction in terms of Tata Chemicals is going to be interesting to watch out for. Zydus Life, again from the pharma space, that will be in focus as the US FDA inspection of the company's animal health facility at Ahmedabad has ended with nil observations. So this could give some positive momentum with regards to where Zydus Life Science goes. Minda Corporation is on the back of a fundraise around 600 crores is what they are looking to raise. So watch out for Minda. Lemon Tree Hotels has started two hotels in Agra and Bhopal, and this will be managed by Carnation Hotel. So watch out for some traction on this one. The buyback date for Wipro has been fixed to 16th of June. So ahead of the buyback, there could be some momentum in terms of Wipro. The price is going to be interesting to watch out for. Now, India has also gone ahead and allowed import of needle pet coke for graphite anodes. And on the back of these, companies like HEG as well as Graphite India that will continue to remain in focus in today's session. In fact, both these counters have started to pick up a lot of traction in the last couple of trading sessions. On the brokerage front, you have a OU Small Finance Bank. You have a City which has cut this rating to neutral, and they have a target price of 765. So watch out for a AU Small Finance. Vedanta has also been cut to a neutral at JP Morgan and they have a price target of 280. So that's going to be another one to watch out for. I'm sure we don't have graphics for a few other stocks that I'm going to mention, but watch out for a Mahindra Finance in space. And this is in place today because on the back of the May 23 update, they've had a healthy disbursement growth, and that is pretty much on the expected lines as well. In fact, the loans have grown almost 1.9% on a month on month basis. Disbursements have grown around 39% on a year on year basis as well. So watch out for Mahindra Finance. Emphasis also on the back of the acquisition of DXC company that has been announced as well. Now, not sure whether what kind of movement this will cause because clearly, in terms of what brokerages are indicating, is that it's a pretty normal acquisition, does not see major movement in terms of how it could impact an emphasis in trade. So this is one of the names that we will be focusing on in today's session as well. So clearly, overall, if you go to see a lot of stocks that will be in focus, probably we will see sector specific action. As we mentioned, IT will be in focus, cement will be in focus, a lot of newsmakers in the pharma space as well. In fact, Indoco Remedy is the one which I've forgotten to mention, on the back of an OAI that they have received for one of their units. So there could be some bit of a negative reaction coming in on that one. And apart from that, consolidation is the key right now, specifically from Nifty as well as, from a bank Nifty perspective from here on. And very lastly, OPEC related companies, oil related companies, that's the OMCs. You have the likes of an ONGC, Oil India, HPCL, BPCL, and paint companies that will continue to remain in focus in today's session. So lots to watch out for in trade today. In fact, 8:30 we will be speaking to Azleen Ahmad as well to get you an update as to what the OPEC announcements would mean for the markets from here on. That's all that we have. Thanks for watching.